Welcome back, my FreeMelon friends, to the FreeMelon Society. I am Eli Martyr. I'd like to thank you for joining me once again. As you can see, I'm not at home. I'm not in my usual environment. I am on the road, working out of town again, doing what I can to make shift on the fly and keep in touch with you guys. So again, I'm away from all my regular editing resources, but there's a couple things I wanted to talk to you about today. So we're in the middle of August. And I hope the August food cleanse, the August fruit cleanse is going well for you guys. We're kind of near the tail end now. And if you're getting to this video later than August 2019, then there was a fruit cleanse that I posted up on the FreeMelon Society Facebook group, whereby we went with a very natural, all raw, all clean fruit and leafy green vegetable only cleanse for a couple weeks in August. So, one thing I wanted to tell you guys, if you're getting to this now and you are in the middle of this cleanse, and you are, like myself, having to travel for work, having to be on the road, away from home, and you're using that as an excuse to comfort yourself into saying, oh, well, I'm traveling, I'm not near my kitchen, I don't have my regular stuff with me, that is not an excuse. Unfortunately, that's not an excuse. If you are anywhere near a city, or if you have access to a grocery store at all, anywhere in your environment, I'm here in my hotel room, I have no kitchen, I have nothing, I do have access to grocery stores, and I can manage to find food. You've got options, right? If you're anywhere in a city, you've got options, so no excuses, alright? Tough love. What I wanted to talk to you guys today about is something that's always intrigued me, and that it's nobody seems to understand how to eat fruit, or particularly when to eat fruit. It's really amazing. I had two encounters recently, and actually I always have encounters whenever I go to the grocery store, but I had two encounters recently. I went and I bought a breadfruit from the store, and I bought a particularly soft breadfruit, one that was ready for eating, and this Jamaican lady, she approached me and she saw me testing out the breadfruit and smelling it. Oh, you can't eat that, the breadfruit not right, the breadfruit not right. That's what she was saying to me. Excuse my accent, my terrible Jamaican accent. And, confused, I was like, no, what do you mean? It's very, very soft and tender, it's ready to go, right? No good like that, man. You gotta cook it up and and she just kept going on and on. And I said to her, no, you don't cook it up, you just eat it, right? I don't cook this breadfruit, I just eat it. And the look she gave me, she was horrified. She's like, flabbergasted at what I was suggesting. She told me she had never in her life even once considered eating breadfruit raw. Not once. And I find it so intriguing because this is what culture does to you. There is a particular way that culture says you must do things. And you can have someone, in Jamaican culture, cooked breadfruit is a staple, right? It's one of those conventional, customary things. And yes, I understand cooking breadfruit in all sorts of cooking oils, or bacon fat, or sesame oil, or coconut oil, or vegetable oil, and tossing it in the oven and destroying it with heat for an hour, and then frying it after you've destroyed it, killing it even more in the frying pan, and then putting stuff. Yeah, I get it. You can hijack your senses into being totally stimulated and excited and thinking, oh, this is the tastiest way to eat breadfruit. I get it, right? I'm sure it tastes good. But this is what culture does, right? It perpetuates a particular modality of behavior. It's possible for people who are native to Jamaica to not understand the basics of eating fruit. And it's such a simple thing. Breadfruit is a fruit. You eat it as a fruit. The thing is, you just have to wait until it's ripe. It's so obvious, right? And someone who grew up on Jamaica has never experienced this. I just find this so intriguing that people don't understand how to eat fruit, right? And culture is to blame. So Jamaican woman telling me how to eat breadfruit, while really she has no idea what she's talking about. The cooked method is a method. It's not the best method. and it has nothing to do with a natural method of eating breadfruit. Check out this one that I ate. Look how soft it is. Okay, so the breadfruit, okay, so just so you know, when you eat a breadfruit, it has to be very, very, very soft to touch. You should almost be able to rip it apart with your hands. Okay, so soft to the touch, but once it's soft enough to relent itself to an easy squish with your fingers, you can cut it in half, just like I've done here. And as you can see, the inside is very squishy. It should be able to leave indents when you touch it with your finger. The thin skin, cut away the thin skin on the outside as close to the skin as possible so that you don't get rid of any of the edible meat. And then the stem on the inside, you'll cut away the stem. Right where the color changes, that's where you're going to cut away, and you're going to discard the stem. And all of the rest of it is edible. And it tastes wonderful. It's a beautiful, sweet, and bready taste. It's like someone prepared the most magnificent type of bread for you, and you can eat it raw. This is how you eat breadfruit. You don't destroy it first before you eat it. You eat it. You just have to make sure it's ripe. I had another encounter several days earlier. I was at a store buying plantain, and I bought my plantain ripe, the way it's supposed to be eaten. Mostly black. Couple yellow spots here and there, but mostly black. So the plantain, all the plantain starch had been matured into sugar, right? Into the fruit sugar. Once a plantain is ripe and mature, the taste is so sweet and so rich, and that's how you eat it. You do not need to cook or destroy plantain. Yes, I get it. It can taste good if you, again, use human contrivances to hijack your senses into overstimulating your taste buds by drowning it in fats and oils and destroying it with heat and cooking. Okay, I get it. It can taste good like that. But it's not how you're supposed to eat fruit. The lady at the grocery store who I was buying the plantain from, she's like, oh, no, that's way too ripe. You know, you can't eat bread, or you can't eat plantain like that. No, it's disgusting. It's too soft. And it's like, you know, this is what happens when parents and culture hands down to you a method of eating that is wrong. But that's all you learn. Eat the bloody fruit. Just like you eat other fruits. Why not to these fruits as well? I'm at the grocery store just yesterday, and I'm buying pears for myself. There's an old lady, an old Italian lady right beside me, and she's picking out fruits. She's picking out pears. And the pear that she's looking at, she gives it a gross look and puts it down. And I looked at the one she was just examining. I pick it up. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I put it in my bag, right? And she looks at me. She's like, oh, no, that one's no good. No, put that one back. But in my head, I'm like, what? Are you serious? And I told her, like, no, this pear is probably the ripest one out of all of them. It's ready to eat right now. And she says, no, see the black spots on it? That means it's no good. And I looked at her and I said, ma'am, no, this black spot is exactly what you want. What this means is that the sugars are matured and the best type of sweetness is coming out. And she denies it, right? She says, no. She takes the fruit from my hand, the pear. She rips open the black part to prove to me that the inside was rotten. As I told her, right, exactly as I suggested to her, the underside of the black spot was not rotten at all. It was perfectly white and juicy. Perfectly juicy, right? No rotting whatsoever. She looks at it and she stops for a second because she sees that she's completely wrong and that I'm completely right. When she opens it, I wait and I give her a look and I say, you see, you've proved to yourself that the black spot is not rotting. It's just ripeness. This is what she does. She looks at me, she looks at the pear, and she goes, no, and puts it back. So even though she proved the truth to her right in front of her eyes, with me right beside her, reinforcing and telling her the truth about this pear, she says, no, it's still a rotten fruit. I'm putting it back, and you're not right about this, okay? So this is where we are, right? The last thing I want to share with you in this video is how to pick fruit and how to go about eating fruit. Okay, there are many different ways you can tell when a fruit is ready to eat. Usually it starts to smell good, okay? So if you can start smelling the fruit and smelling the flavors coming out at you, it's probably a better indication that it's ripe. Usually, fruits will be softer to the touch when they're ripe. So if they're soft and if they're smelling good, those are good indications that the fruit is ready and ripe to eat. Color changes, some of the color changes. Oftentimes, a fruit, because we're spoiled by grocery stores, will look discolored if they're getting too ripe. Most of the time, discoloration is a sign that the fruit is at a very, very mature state and that it is perfect for eating. So don't be too dissuaded by irregularities in color. Perfect uniformity in color usually means the fruit's not ready yet or not ripe yet. But when a color changes, and it totally depends on the fruit, to yellows or golds or reds or whatnot, usually away from the green, then that means it's ripe. So a lot of grocery stores will have clearance sections where they mark down the price of fruit that is no longer suitable to be stocked on the regular shelves because it is unappealing to the customer's eyes. This blows my mind, because in the clearance section you can find the ripest, sweetest, tastiest fruit, and it is cheaper than the fruit that is not ripe that you find on the shelves. This works to the fruitarian's advantage or the naturalist's advantage because you can buy cheaper and better fruit in the clearance section. So, one of my biggest tips to you guys, if you're trying to eat healthy and eat clean, right? Whenever you go to your grocery store, whenever you go to any grocery store, your first stop should be the clearance section. Yes, in the clearance section, there will often be fruit that is actually spoiled or too ripe or has been crushed, under the weight of other fruits or whatnot. Yeah, obviously you avoid those. But most of the time in the clearance section, you're going to find lots of fruit that is actually very, very, very good to eat. Bananas you find very often in there. Apples, pears, lots of melons sometimes in the clearance section. All of these things you can always find cheaper there. So stop number one, my tip for you, go to the clearance section, check that out first, and then check out the rest of the produce aisle whenever you're going grocery shopping. Anyway, just wanted to share those little stories with you. Yeah, guys, don't be scared of ripe fruit. Don't be scared of discolorations and black spots on fruit. This is just an indication that the fruits are ripe and ready to eat, okay? And as for you breadfruit and plantain eaters out there, learn to wait until fruit is ripe and then eat it, okay? Such a simple message for today, but I thought this would have been a fun little video to make. So that's it for me for now, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time on the FreeMelon Society, hopefully when I'm not traveling around and away from all my resources, as I usually have access to them at home. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time.